All right, so now we're going to answer question number 12. And I think I made one small mistake in number 12. So I'm going to change that real quick. I'm only going to put the greater than sign in this case. Just the greater than sign. Also, on your midterm, I'm not going to give you the sign table. You have to make it yourself. But it says determine when f of x is greater than 0 if f of x equals to x squared minus x minus 90. And I gave you a hint, and I said you should factor first. The reason I want to factor is because if you find the zeros of the polynomial, then you can determine on which intervals of x the function will be greater than 0, equal to 0, at the zeros, of course, and then less than 0. So let's write our function in factored form. First, when you factor x squared, that factors into x times x. Then you want to find two numbers that multiplies to negative 90. And those same two numbers add to the negative 1 that's in front of the x. Because it multiplies to a negative number, that means one outcome has to be negative, one has to be positive. Because the sum of the numbers is negative, that means the larger quantity has to be negative, the smaller quantity will be positive. So numbers that multiply to 90, the first one that comes to my head is 9 and 10. So I'm going to choose 9 and 10, which means 9 has to be the positive one because that's the smaller quantity, and 10 has to be the larger one because that's the negative quantity in this case. Positive 9 times negative 10 is negative 90, and positive 9 minus 10 is negative 1. So that works out. Therefore, my zeros are 9 and negative 10. Of course not. The zeros are the opposite signs of the factors. The zeros clearly are negative 9 and positive 10. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0. 10 minus 10 is 0. That's why it's negative 9 and 10. Also, you could have kind of guessed from here as well because I put it there. So at negative 9, the function is 0. At positive 10, the function is also 0. We're going to choose a number between negative infinity and negative 9. Let's go x equals negative 10. And we're going to plug it into the factored form of our polynomial. And I just want to find the sign of the polynomial. So that's going to be negative 10 plus 9 times negative 10 minus 10. Negative 10 plus 9 is negative 1. Negative 10 minus 10 is negative 20. Negative 1 times negative 20 is positive 20. And this is a positive value. Because it's a positive value, the function is going to be positive on the interval from negative infinity to negative 9. Choose a value between negative 9 and positive 10. I'm going to choose x equals 0. Don't confuse the x equals 0 with the zeros of the polynomial. These zeros are the outputs of the functions. This x equals 0 is the input. So 0 plus 9 times 0 minus 10. 9 times negative 10 is negative 90. That is negative, which means this interval does not satisfy the criteria because we want to find out where the function is greater than 0. Negative numbers are less than 0. So far, one part of our answer is going to be the interval from negative infinity to negative 9. Let's see if there's another part to the interval when we test the last piece. Let's choose x equals 11 because that's close to 10. So that's going to be 11 plus 9 times 11 minus 10. 20 times 1. That's 20. That's positive. So that means this interval also is satisfied. From from negative infinity to negative 9, and from 10 to infinity. Those are the intervals where the function is greater than 0. And now this truly is the last video of the review. And also keep this in mind because you're going to be using these concepts as well for your final exam. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.